What's going on, everyone? Juicebags here, and welcome back to Dungeon Defenders 2. Of course, we had some changes with bows with the last update, and I was really looking for a reason to get out of the single force situation, as I just find that bow super dull. Now, although it was leading the pack in DPS, it's just a real boring shot type. And in my opinion, wasn't real fun to use because I want something a little bit shinier on the screen. Now for single target damage, this of course brought the Earth Guardian's bow into prominence. I'm using Focus Power, Bouncing Phoenix, and Lucky Strikes. The Earth Guardian's bow is the highest single target damage bow in the game. It's doing 3.76 DPS per point of hero damage you have spent as a base. Now, there's one big glaring issue for me personally. A lot of people this is just trivial for, but I just can't stand the Earth Guardian's bow with its homing. It's not even really homing, and it's more like aim assist in my opinion. So let's get rid of the pet here so that we don't have any numbers distracting. Say we want to shoot that dummy right there. No problem, we can shoot that dummy all day. But say that dummy right there is a goblin, and let's say that there is an ogre standing behind that goblin. Well, if I try to shoot the ogre, and I shoot up above the dummy's head, let me find a better position here so you can see it better. Let's just go over here. Say I want to shoot up above that dummy's head to an enemy behind it. The projectile is going to just end up curving downwards, as you see, and hitting the goblin in front. That absolutely drives me nuts, particularly with siege rollers, where like you're trying to hit a specific button, and then there's one mob standing behind a siege roller, and you know your shots go into that mob until you kill it, and then you get to kill the siege roller. You see, we got the little bender stuff going on here, and the shots arcing downward. So for me personally, the funnest way for me to play my hunter is to have two different bows. I've always had two bow setups the entire time. Previously I was using a single for boss fights, and then the Bling King bow for lane clearing. Now for boss fights, I switched back to the Earth Guardian's bow since it is the current king. And I ran a poll over on the YouTube channel to ask you all what my second bow should be. Now I had all the bows sitting here ready to go, just didn't know which one to use. One bow that really stood out for me is without a doubt the Jester arrows. This one is doing 3.75 damage per second per point of hero damage as a base, so it's barely under the top at the Earth Guardian's bow. However, it's got a locked mod slot. However, it also pierces 5 targets. Now, there's no limit or range limit on these 5 targets. So if there's 5 targets in a straight line and they're super spread out, no matter what, Jester Arrows is going to hit all of them. Now, you could also say the same limited targets, of course, for the Corrupted Bow with Dart Shot. This one is also a strong contender, and I think this one's got amazing cool value. So nothing wrong with this one. Of course, you're not going to go through as many targets. You're only going to pierce your original target plus 2 more with this one. Additionally, the damage output is much, much lower. You don't get the same amount of base damage with this bow. So although I do love it, and I think anyone who likes it should definitely use it, I personally narrowed it down to 2 different bows. The Gothic Longbow. Did I just say longbow? Longbow. The Gothic Longbow. Or the Jester Arrows. Now, the Gothic Longbow, of course, does that little AoE burst. You see the glow on the wall with the various damage fall-off zones. When you look at it on actual targets, it's not a very big area. So unless something is immediately right next to it, you're just not going to hit more than 1 dummy width on each side. So shooting at that center dummy, I'm going to get 1 dummy on each side to the outside, and then the ones that are 2 dummies away are going unscathed. Now, this is still a solid bow. It's got a nice fast shot type. It's enjoyable to use. And I think it's got a pretty decent skin with it as well. So definitely another strong option. However, I wanted to leave this one up to you all, and the poll said use Jester Arrows. So here we go. I finally settled on this bow. It doesn't have the highest hero health roll, but it is quite usable. As you see, I still have to reroll the main stat on it. The Jester Arrows is a super fun bow. This is a bow I'm going to use just for kind of farming and map clearing. Anytime where I'm not as concerned with the single target damage output. And I'm just not sure what I want to use for that third shard slot. Or, pardon me, that third mod slot. One of the things I absolutely love about the Jester Arrows is just it fills the screen with numbers. Which, there's nothing funner than having so many numbers on the screen that you can't tell what any of them are. Let's throw our pet back on there. And, yeah, it's just good stuff. So, I mean, lots of numbers. I love it. I love the big red bleed on the screen, as that's just absolutely glorious. Now, of course, we're also getting the benefit of piercing the 5 enemies, and then we have a shot type that it's very easy to land all of the projectiles on a single enemy. So even like a goblin or something the size of that dummy, you're going to very easily, even from range, be able to land all of those shots onto that one dummy. So this one won the battle. This is the one we're going to use. It's definitely not my favorite skin in the game, for sure. It would go with the Hunter a lot better if it was red, without a doubt. However, it is a fun bow. I'm looking forward to use it, but I got one more question for you all. And that is, what do we do with the third mod slot? Jester Arrows, of course, is locked. The benefit you get with Jester Arrows is mod quality doesn't matter. If it's a 1 out of 10 or a 10 out of 10, it's still going to pierce the 5 targets. Focused Power, of course, is just a required mod on the build, but what about the third? You've got several choices. For more single target damage, you would want to go with either Lucky Strikes or Bouncing Phoenix. For more just AoE lane clear, and this is a lane clearing bow, you could go with something like Frostfire Remnants, and then you wouldn't need to use the Ring of Ice. The Ring of Ice is basically the same as Frostfire Remnants, except it doesn't leave the effect on the ground. So Frostfire is greatly superior to this one, but I could go with Frostfire Remnants and then switch to like a Ring of Poison, or any other ring for that matter. We could even go with like a Ring of Piercing for Geodes if we chose to. But what do I put in the third slot? Bouncing Phoenix, Lucky Strikes, or Frostfire Remnants? That is my question for you all. So let me know what you all think down in the comments below. Do I go Lucky Strikes? Do I go Bouncing Phoenix? Or do I go Frostfire Remnants? I think all three of them would be pretty fun to use, and I don't really care which one I use, to be honest. So this is the viewer bow. So whatever you all decide goes on this one, out of those three is going to go on this one. If you come up with something like Frost Explosion, yeah, I'm not going to pick that one. But Bouncing Phoenix, Lucky Strikes, or Frostfire Remnants. But that will do it for now. Thanks an absolute ton for watching, and I will see ya next time around. Take it easy.